This is Chatroom. We are live today, our conversation on mental health, and we are continuing this conversation today by introducing a new topic. My name is Beatrice, and my co-host Dedan is on the other side. Hi, Dedan. Say hi to everybody.
Yeah. Hi. How are you, everyone?
Yes. How's your week been, Dedan?
Uh, Very okay.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff, but we thank God.
Yes. It's been an interesting week because, with COVID, vacation time got pushed and moved. So I'm excited because this week I don't get to think about work coming into a new week. So the past week was kind of busy for me, but I'm grateful. Thankful to God. We're here. We're able to have continue our conversation on chat room, continue to bring awareness on mental health, and continue to encourage individual to take our conversation and continue the conversation in their homes, dinner tables, friends, workplaces. So ours is to be that advocate and just have a conversation, casual conversation, give you resources if any, and just continue to bring that awareness. Um, I don't know if you have anything to add on it.
Not so much. We have first of all, probably before we go right into that, together with COVID, 2020 has been a year of so much happening, and we are alive to that too. One of the things that has happened on Friday this week that has captured the world in a big way is I don't know if Beatrice, you go to watch the movie Black Panther.
I cannot confirm nor deny on that one because if I say yes or no on that one, people will be like, "You haven't, or you have." Anyway, I'm aware of what you are referencing. Um,
Have you watched the movie Black Panther? Yes or no?
I cannot confirm nor deny. I will leave that open for people's curiosity.
I've watched the movie Black Panther, and it captured a lot of imagination in terms of understanding the space of the blacks in the movie industry. And one of the things that really was amazing about it is the superstar that was brought in the form of the person who was the main starring. That was Chadwick Boseman. He brought in the Africanness and the idea of a black man, and even that movie went ahead to win an Oscar. So it was such a big thing, it captured the world. Now, one thing, Beatrice, I want to bring that through is that for many people, they watch the movie, but you'd find even some of our viewers here who did not know the name of the movie. They didn't call it Black Panther, they would call it Wakanda.
Wakanda.
So for some people, the idea of Wakanda was more than even the movie Black Panther, which was a good thing. But for
Mhm.
everyone who either watched it or those who might not have watched it, it captured the imagination of the world, and some of them even dressed like the Black Panther, the small Black Panthers. Now, the most that came out of it was the individual who stood out. That is Chadwick Boseman, the way he brought out in T'Challa, what he brought out of that movie,
Mhm.
and as an individual, the way he carried himself with grace. Now, one thing that has captured the minds of many is that during all that process, as he was shooting the movie and many other movies that he has played in for the last 4 years, he was actually struggling and battling
Mhm.
cancer. So that
Mhm.
was very huge,
Mhm.
and the strong personality that he brought out. So,
Mhm.
as the world mourns a very great superstar who captured the imagination of many people, the Africa. You know, if you watch the movie, you see the way the different perspectives of Africa has been brought within the movie, and for it to go on and win an Oscar, and actually that stands out for Kenyans because Lupita Nyong'o won an Oscar because of a role she played in that specific movie and captured the imagination of many Kenyans. So for to be alive to what is happening, we really are standing strong together with the family of Chadwick Boseman, the world Monson. And indeed, it's a sad for movie for Africans, basically Black Americans, but much more the lessons that were there in that particular movie and what he brought out as Black in a movie that was majorly the key roles were acted by Blacks, and then it brought out for it to be appreciated and accepted the way it was a first for it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a inspirational aspect to it, and it's touched many lives and children especially. So we cannot be we need to be aware of that and recognize that. So thank you for bringing that and highlighting that, Dedan, especially for viewers as well.
So for those who moviegoers and everyone who watched it, yes, we are alive and we appreciate Chadwick Boseman. He revolutionized. Actually, they call it he revolutionized the way people view the a black person as a star in a key movie that rocked billions
Yeah.
in the movie industry. So may he fare well, and we of course stand with those who are mourning him right now. And if you have not watched Black Panther, go watch it. It's an interesting movie. You want to look at it. And Beatrice, I challenge you to go watch it. Your response shows that you haven't watched it. Go watch the movie Black Panther. Let's move on.
Hey, I did not say yes or no. That's up to you.
You haven't watched it, everybody. Beatrice has not watched Black Panther. Now, if you have it, kindly lend her the movie so that she can watch it.
Invite me to your home. I will come. We'll do the rerun. We'll rewatch it.
Boseman is an African actor, which is he's an African actor. He died last week.
No, I've been following what's been going on, so I'm aware and to it, and
watch
it's
Black Panther. Watch Black Panther. Those who want to Beatrice to watch Black Panther, mwandikia hapo kwa comment, mwambie aende angalie. Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. Better we can just have a watch party, online and just make sure that we are all, tuning into Black Panther. I think they should do that. I can imagine how many people would watch it. Just thinking through the fact that he was battling cancer, in the last 4 years is just unimaginable. So we are very much aware and awake to, that experience, and can imagine the pain that a young bloke that has to lost his life because he had so much to offer and he lost his life battling cancer. So more science so that there's more discovery, so we don't have to lose individuals so young, yeah. So Darren.
I also want to move on straight. For those who are on my wall, I want to know that you might not see Beatrice, but but I would really appreciate if you can go straight to Beats, like that page, then you'll see the show. You'll be following it every other time when it happens, and this show and the rest. If you are joining us for the first time, this happens every Sunday between 4 to 5, and we have two segments of the show. That is, we have the first one, we have Beatrice coming in, giving us inspiration, where she tries to give us some form of a few minutes of inspiration. And then, of course, depending with each show that we are having, we have guests coming in, or sometimes we just discuss mental health issues. And many times we have different aspects, some questions coming from you and things. We are hoping that every time we discuss, you can pick one thing that's going to be helping you. So stay on right here every Sunday from 4 to 5. Listen to us. We will be having guests time to time. But then again, like our page, go to BIDS Solution Group LLC. Like the page, you'll be able to get all the videos that we have had for the past. And very soon, I think we already have a YouTube channel. You can go and look for some. We'll be putting some of these videos on our YouTube channel. You can start looking at them. Even if you miss the show, you go in there. So without much ado, I want to welcome Beatrice to take us through the Eddie's inspiration moment.
Yeah, I feel like I need to watch Wakanda, Black Panther now. That have been
You need to
battered
watch
anyway.
Black Panther.
I did
Not
not hear any
Wakanda. You
about
think
it.
you're calling it
No,
Wakanda? Many people called it Wakanda.
no, no, no. I'm just using the term, but it's better known as, yeah. Anyway,
Wakanda
um,
forever.
so today's inspirational moment, if you're joining us for the first time every week, we have an inspirational moment. Betty's inspirational moment, as I always like to share. These are things that I'm experiencing, I've experienced throughout the week. And the topic that I pick is influenced by my experiences or things that I've encountered throughout the week. And today's inspirational moment, I like to focus on courage. Now, courage is defined as the mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. Now, one of the things that will prevent us from actually taking that step of or discovering our courage is our fears. Um, because the reason being is that we focus on number one, the fear and our comfort zone, our comfort areas where we don't want to go into a situation or an experience where we're not aware of because we do not know the outcomes. We don't want to take risks. And that comes with us not wanting to overcome our fears. So in order for you to discover your courage, you first of all have to overcome your fears, because fear is truly an invitation to experience your own courage. Now, we rely on comfort. I talked about the two things, fear and comfort. We're just being familiar with old methods or techniques, and we are afraid to do things differently. Can you imagine when you are trying to take on a new career path, or eat a new delicacy? You will have that fear, and if you don't step away from that comfort zone because you're used to eating ugali every day, and instead of eating ugali, let's try eating something different, like eating salad before we eat the ugali. You're like, no, I'd just rather eat the ugali. So instead of us, facing our fears, because to some people, changing even food is something that is limiting. We are afraid of trying, doing things differently or trying things differently because we embrace the safety and the routine, the mundane things that we're used to doing on a day-to-day basis. It's better that you stay safe at all costs because you don't know the outcome. You're not familiar with the outcome. So in order for you to discover your courage, you have to overcome your fears. The one thing that you are probably not familiar with, or you in you, or because you're comfortable where you are, you'd rather not jump. You'd not rather not take that step or leap of faith. So courage, according to Aristotle, is the first virtue because it makes all other virtues possible. Once you overcome your fears by discovering your courage, you're able now to uncover all the other virtues that come with it. And that is, you start becoming, once you discover your fears, you are able to now have the benefit of passion, dedication, motivation. So once you overcome your fear and you discover your courage, it comes with those things. It comes with the motivation to do. It comes with the commitment to be able to be consistent every day to do the same thing. Think about public speaking. It is something that most people are very much afraid of doing, but you will not be able to overcome that if you stay silent, or if you hide behind the walls and people do not know how you even sound. It's important to come out and speak. Time, you will find yourself to perfect that skill and to become an expert in the one thing that you've been afraid of. I like to highlight a story that I came across that was highlighted in the book Courage Goes to Work by Bill Treasure. Bill Treasure had a fear of heights. Now, he overcame this fear by doing high diving, high diving basically. So what he did for 7 years, he actually would, just, go to a 100-foot tower, which is a 10-story building, and he would dive off a building, that tower, sorry, dive off the tower into a 10-foot pool, and at a 10-foot deep pool. And he did that at 50 miles per hour. He did that for 7 years. And ultimately, he overcame his fear of heights. And then eventually, this high diving team. So you can see it takes time. Once you take or discover uh, your courage by first overcoming your fears, then you're able to unlock the other things that come with it, which is that dedication or commitment, the motivation, and the passion. So today's inspirational moment is to encourage you to really take or discover your courage. And in order for you to flourish in that environment, once you discover your courage, your mental, social, and psychological environment, that environment needs to be proper. Without that, you cannot be able to move away from your comfort zone and begin to take risks. So it's important for you to actually just, have an environment that is conducive for you to take that leap of faith, for you to overcome your fears. Now, once you do that, then you will be able to you know do more work, not deviate from taking on responsibility, and you'll be able to actually have that sense of urgency in you, because you're not, there's this drive that comes with you having the courage or discovering your courage. I like to leave you with these words from John F. Kennedy. It says, "There are risks and costs to a program of action, but they are far less than the long range risk and cost of comfortable inaction." So I hope you've been inspired today to discover your courage. And in order for you to discover your courage, you have to overcome your fears, the one thing that you do not want to step into because you do not know the outcome. So thank you very much. Hope this will carry you on until we meet again next Sunday for the next Betty's Inspirational. Stay tuned, like our page. We are continually uncovering ways to connect and engage you during our chat room every Sunday. So thank you, Dedan.
Thank you. As we after a little music, praise and worship. There's something about traditional music as you're praising. That's Luo music, praising God, saying, "In heaven we shall be happy." Karibuni sana. Thank you very much for that. Now we go straight away to our discussion for today. As we had mentioned earlier, this month is not this month really. The month of September is World Suicide. Happy birthday to Lulu. Thank you, Victor. Victor, Karibu. You have come right on time as we are starting our discussion on our discussion for today. Today on mental health, we are going to be discussing suicide. And I was about to say that the month of September is World Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month, and on 10th of September is the World Suicide Prevention Day. So there are several activities that happen within the month, and then of course within the day there are several things. What International Association of Suicide Prevention has done, they have recommended that at least each and every day, Beatrice, you take 1 minute a day to check on someone that you've not checked on before. Take a minute a day, either send a text or just call someone and ask them if they're okay, because that act can help someone who was feeling lonely to have some hope.
Yeah.
So as mental awareness, health awareness, we generally, part of our activity is we encourage people to check on each other. Beatrice, this week, how many people did you check on that are not, you've never checked on before?
Hey, I did one, and this is not a lie. I did check on one person. I do that every time, and I'll tell you, it's very important for us as members of the society in our communities to be active in doing that, because we need to put our differences aside. We need to reach out, because in that reaching out, you'll find that the individual is either surprised, and you give them energy. If they were deep in thought where they felt like they're defeated or something had happened to where they're just there, makes a big difference. And the most important thing when you're making the phone call is to listen. After you have stated why you're calling and all that, of course, listen. If that individual, you might pick up on something in the conversation, so you're not giving too much of information from your end about what is going on in your life. You're actually giving them the opportunity to express themselves, because then in that moment you're able to determine, hey, maybe in addition to my weekly call to a different individual, I need to make sure that I check on this one individual every week, or even increase your frequency, or even visit them in person. So you're right, it's important for us to check on each other.
Yeah, British. So as a response to that, the International Association of Suicide Prevention have come up with a campaign, which is something that can be going on every day. Every single day, take a minute, check on someone that you've never checked on before. Just a minute in a day, each person, each day for a minute. So different person, because sometimes one of the things that was found out in those guys who are suicidal is they felt alone. They felt that there's no one who cares about them. So if that moment you check on someone and even tell them that checking on you to wish you well, it could be a game changer in the difference between someone remaining alive and taking their own life. So
Yeah.
I want to encourage our listeners to take time, 1 minute every day, 1 minute every day for the next,
Mhm.
from as we start the month of September, 1 minute every day. Check on someone different every day. Just take a call, take a minute, wish someone well, ask them how they are doing, and just let's try and see if it can help in in reducing or preventing suicidal cases that we're having. So we go straight away into our discussion for this month. This month, basically starting today, next Sunday, the whole of this month will be either maybe bring a guest to help us understand certain aspects of suicide, but we are just going to be discussing matters suicide. I mean,
Mhm.
what it is, what are some of the myths and facts about it? How does suicide affect children? How, I mean, suicide between male, what are some of the association or the link between suicide and other things that could be maybe alcoholism, depression? How is it related? So we'll be looking at that basically within this month. So for today, will just be an intro into issues of suicide. So we look at what is suicide, then of course try and appreciate certain myths around suicide. So Beatrice, in your own words, what do you
Mhm.
understand suicide to be? In your own words, not
Yeah.
necessarily what you have read. In the things that you have read and all of it. So in your own words, what
Yeah.
do you understand?
For me, suicide is when an individual feels like they have reached the end of everything. There's nothing that's working for them. There's no hope. They've lost hope in this life, and that there is nobody that can retrieve that for them. And so, be it an individual or even God, they have lost hope from a human to human perspective and any spiritual being that they look look to. So for me, suicide is losing hope and the aspect of just giving up.
Yeah, yeah, giving up. So like you're right about there's aspects of giving up. There's aspects of their expect. One thing that happens as you come into the world, there are things that you expect to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
You expect people probably to if you are a student, you expect to pass your exam. When you are probably in a relationship, you expect everybody else will do what you want. If you are working, you expect that maybe the employment will give you the satisfaction you want. Wherever places you go, there are things that you feel need to meet certain expectations. So when that is not happening either sooner, faster, and you start imagining things that
Mm-hmm.
maybe, and some of these expectations they're either real or imagined. So you
Yeah.
start feeling like it is not happening there I want, and there's yeah, you talk about now losing of hope. And now when you lose that hope, then you think now there's that imagination that the only thing that I can do is engage in certain deliberate actions
Mm-hmm.
to end my life, to escape the frustrations thereof.
Mm-hmm.
So that basically you're engaging in acts that are meant to either harm you with an expectation of ending your life,
Mm-hmm.
either to escape. But I wish to point here, Beatrice. There's a certain sociologist is called Emil Durkheim. He studied the concept of suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Then he said there's a form of suicide that is called altruistic suicide. Now, in that kind of suicide, he says that some of the people who end up taking their life, they think they are doing the society some good by taking their life. I want to prevent you from the trouble, so I take my own life. So those
Yeah.
are some of the definitely. He started suicide in a more deeper way,
Mm-hmm.
and he brought in certain concept. Now that one caught my eye, that some of the suicide issues that we talk about, to those people in their mind, they are doing the society good.
Good.
So
Yeah.
I'm actually doing good. They're not necessarily escaping from frustration. They are
Yeah.
saying that I'm seeing that you guys are really much in trouble. So let me remove the trouble that seems to be me. So they get themselves off. But that's basically the other part of understanding suicide. But yes, you're right. Expectations, when what we really want is
Mm-hmm.
not
Being
what you are
nice.
calling the hope for what is to met. So that hope disappears, and then
Mm-hmm.
of course now you engage in an act
Mm-hmm.
to
And
end
you're
your
right.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when you talk about them removing themselves from the society, the family, um, they are truly feeling like they're a burden. They are a
Yeah,
burden.
that's one way of understanding suicide. It is not all that are like that, but for those ones who are engaging in what Emil Durkheim refers to as altruistic suicide, is that specific group. That now there's also another one, of course. Now for that sense, they
Mm-hmm.
engage in suicide to punish the society. But we will not want to go into so much of the academics of it. We want to look at the general process of suicide. Now, suicide, sui means one. It's a Latin word. One. Cidium
Mm-hmm.
is killing. So killing oneself. Suicide, killing oneself.
Suicide, killing oneself.
And if you are to understand it from that point, has suicide been taking place? Is
Mm-hmm.
it acceptable? Is this something that should go on? So we
Mm-hmm.
want to say, as ours, as beats, yes, suicide is a concern. It's a major public health problem that
Mm-hmm.
has to be done. That's why, as a mental health issue, public health issue, we now want to discuss it within this month because it is real.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, someone knows someone who knows someone who has died
Mm-hmm.
by suicide.
Yeah, definitely. I think nearly 45,000 lives were lost to suicide, in a particular year, in 1 year. So when you think about that, that's a lot of lives lost. Could we have prevented it? Because suicide in itself is preventable. So,
Yeah.
it's up to us to really be aware of what are we contributing to the society to prevent, and what are we doing to bring that awareness to our society.
Yeah, I think like now what you have mentioned is very key. Now, for the purposes and maybe for those our listeners who will probably listen right now or even listen later, it's important
Mhm,
for us to appreciate why it is that it's a global concern. And
mhm,
you brought a bit about statistics. I wish also just to expand on that. 800,000 people die by suicide every year.
mhm.
100,000 deaths. Estimated annual mortality, 4.5 deaths per 100,000 people.
Uh,
That means what? One person every second. So like every 40 seconds. So as we are talking, count 40 seconds, one person has died by suicide.
mhm. Yeah,
75% of suicide occur in low and middle income countries. That means low and middle income countries like Africa and
Africa.
several other places. We have also even this place. So it means that if you are economically disempowered, your chances of taking your life increases 75%.
Mhm. Wow,
So,
it's alarming.
so suicide worldwide was estimated to represent 1.8% of the total global burden of disease in 1998. And by 2020, 2.4%. That means an increase in
Mm,
suicide. So suicide, it's also estimated that it is the sixth cause of the
mhm,
world mortality.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yes.
means it's a concern.
Yeah.
And being a concern, we need to talk about it. We need to encourage people. Now, it's a public health. That means it's preventable. Public health issue means
Mm-hmm.
it's something that can be talked about. And the reason why we want to talk about it and educate people. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
actually, it says it's the 10th leading cause of death
And
worldwide.
then, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. We need to talk about it because that's how we're going to end the stigma. Because most individual, when they start having or experiencing those suicidal thoughts, they remove themselves from being around people. They stop doing the things that they do best or they do well. And if we're not connected or in tune with our environment, we can miss that. We can easily miss that because we would say, "Oh, that's how they are." We would use terminology that to that individual who is experiencing suicidal thoughts or ideations, it would be a trigger to them to actually now, execute their plan or even, put a plan in place leading up to the execution of that plan.
Yeah, and I think another thing that you will appreciate is that it is the main uh, the the biggest active age in a particular population is between 15 to 29 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, according to the statistics, we are told that it is the second leading cause of death in 15 to 29 years
Yeah,
olds globally. Second, in the world, it is the 10th leading cause of death worldwide. But for the age between 15 to 29, it is the second.
a second.
So after I think HIV or something, it is the second.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it's occurring more within
Okay.
that age.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most active age that we need. And maybe parents they need to be aware of that talking about it and it is preventable. It's
Mm-hmm.
important so
Yeah.
that we can see if we can change the way people address issues of suicide and all.
Yeah.
And for that reason, therefore, Beatrice, we might need to start looking at some of the myths because some of the things that are making suicide prevalent is the myth around suicide.
Yes, definitely. Sorry, you know my issue here. I think everybody's on Wi-Fi at this time of the day, so there's quite a delay at some point. But yeah, we do need to start looking at some myths that come with suicide because you'll find that individuals, especially depending on the culture, our environment, we at times see individuals experiencing, symptoms, signs and symptoms, and we take them as that's how they are. We use that terminology. No, that's how, leave them alone. That's how they are. We don't disturb them.
Yeah, which brings us to for us to address suicide, then we need to first of all start looking at myths versus facts and some of the things that maybe our talk and our engagement leads us into maybe being participants or even enabling the idea of suicide happening. And this
Mhm.
is something you'll hear across most of the people. The first myth, Beatrice, that has come out is that it's dangerous to ask a person who is depressed whether they are considering suicide.
Yeah.
That if, for example, a friend is, you have noticed there's something wrong with them, they are probably showing suicidal tendencies. Someone says that it's suicide, it's not appropriate, it's not right to ask them if they are considering suicide.
Yeah. And that's usually it's cultural. It's also something that, you know, it's more invading privacy, somebody's privacy. It's being looked at from that standpoint. Um, I do agree that it is one of the myths that is considered in our community, that it is dangerous to ask them, because they now they're going to actually do it. They are actually going to execute their plan. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, so that's a myth. Sometimes asking, like the fact is, talking about certain thought processes loudly
Mhm,
will relieve someone of the pressure that would come in out of that. In a clinical perspective,
mhm,
in a counseling situation, it's recommended that even you can ask someone, what are some of the disturbing thoughts? Have you considered suicide? Have you
mhm,
had suicidal ideation? Because once someone shares that they have had suicidal ideation, then it's possible for you to even find a way of even helping them out of that process. So it is okay to ask someone who you think could be having suicidal ideation
mhm.
to pose the question: have you ever thought about taking your own life? Have you ever
Yeah,
thought? Because some of them actually have a plan.
they do
They
have a
even
plan.
have a place. They
Mhm,
know where they want to go. I
mhm,
know I've already even bought a rope, or I've bought something, or I've done this, or I have a
mhm,
gun somewhere. They're likely to share with you. And
mhm.
that is going to help them even try and get out of, you know, bring their thoughts out of it. And when
Yeah.
they bring their thoughts out, then gradually they can be helped. Another myth is, we usually say that people who want to die will always find a way of dying.
Yeah, that is, when I look at it and I just listen to you saying those words, I just imagine how dangerous it is as a society if we continue with, actualizing those myths, and, in different circumstances or situations. Because what happens is that we do not find out if somebody actually has a plan. We're not able to identify with either someone is contemplating on having, killing, taking their lives, um, what is the plan? Because some people, they will tell you, some people will kind of throw words at you, and you'll be like, well, these days you're mentioning a lot about this particular area. I haven't really heard you mentioning it. What is it about it? So you bring out the conversation by being curious, staying curious always with an individual who has the showing signs and symptoms of
Yeah,
being
correct.
suicidal.
Yeah, and again, when you're saying, like, when the myth of people want to die, the thing is, in a situation where someone is frustrated, uh, they are torn in between living and the desire to die.
Mhm,
Remember, for them, it is not the death that is the most important thing. Is the escape from the frustrating situation.
mhm,
So death is, we cannot. It's erroneous to suggest that someone who wants to die will just die, so you don't have to talk. While
mhm,
yes, there are people who will say that this person actually they wanted to die, they will just kill themselves. It is not the appropriate way to look at it. This person, you need to
mhm,
face it first. They do not desire to die. They're actually oscillating between, I want to
mhm.
live, I want to die.
Understand.
So maybe the talk that you're going to have with them is going
Mhm,
to make them have more desire to live
mhm.
than to die. Some
Yeah,
of it, that's why we talked about the idea that call someone and then tell them it will be okay. Some people just need that assurance
assurance.
that
Mhm,
it will be well. The world is full of drama and struggles, but at the end of it all, it shall be well. I
mhm,
mean, you can be strong. You can go through this drama, but the sun will still rise tomorrow. Someone needs that reassurance from someone, and probably that call that you're going to make, you know that the person who wants to die will die anyway, then it makes you not engage in any activity that is likely to prevent them.
Mhm.
The other one is that there's an assumption that someone who has their act together isn't at risk of suicide. On this one, I wish to say there are some of the people that you have heard taking their own life. People did not imagine they were going to take their own life. People were like so and so looked so well. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, and think that is one of the biggies because when you really think about it, there are signs leading up to because this individual, as you mentioned, is oscillating from wanting to live and wanting to take their life. So there are certain things that they are doing leading up to them ending their lives. There are certain signs that they're showing you, warning signs that they are showing, that you would be able to trigger. And that is why it is important to have relationships, to making those phone calls. That one phone call, 1 minute every day is very important because when people start offering you things, for example, during those calls and start saying, hey, come, have this. And it's something that they treasured. There are warning signs. There are signs that individual share with us. If we're listening, we would pick up on it.
Yeah. And yes, again, there are some people who will not give you any signs. There are some of them who will be less of signs. One person started suicide and said it is the most complex phenomenon. Some of the people that have taken their lives have been some of the people that have been very, very active, very well, very, they didn't give you any sign that they are going to to take their lives.
Mhm.
And some of them, and that's why we come with the myth that if you are doing fine, you look like you're doing fine, then you're not likely to take your life. Some of the people that look like they are doing fine, they have the greatest of struggles in their private world. You know, so
Mhm.
even the person who looks like they're doing fine, they still need to be checked on. That's what I'm trying to say. Even the person, someone might not necessarily give you the sign, the sign
Yeah.
you're looking for. You
Mhm.
might you might just look at that and they're always smiling. They look like they're like the way we portray. Some of us portray themselves on social media very, very successful, and even when you meet them, they're always smiling. But some of those people who look like they're doing fine, sometimes you end up finding that they have taken their life. So what you're saying, it is not so obvious that the person who's gonna take their life will be giving you these
Signs.
particular signs. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that is
they
true.
might
I
be
mean,
looking
that's
all
what
good,
makes them. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
all good, all nice, all put together. The signs show that this person is okay,
It's okay.
but
Yeah.
a few days later, then you hear so and so died by
Mhm.
suicide.
Yeah.
So while there are those who will come in with signs like you're saying, they will be outward about how they are distancing themselves from others
Mhm.
and all that. We're going to be looking at in our next show. Hopefully, we are going to look at what to look out for.
Mhm.
Some of them will come with those very, very pronounced signs, but some of them will not show at all. Now, what it calls for is for us to be loving and caring and always trying to reach out to those who look like and those who don't look like.
Yeah.
Just even someone that looks like they're okay, just
Mhm.
call them up, say, hey, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Someone told me that he is someone who was apparently, from the way we were looking at it, they look like they are doing well. But he said that it is so lonely to be at the top because
Mm.
everybody thinks you're okay.
Okay, that's
Yeah, everybody thinks you're well. Everybody thinks that you have your act together.
mhm.
Nobody ever asks you the most magical question: Are you okay?
Are you okay?
Because the assumption is you okay anyway. We don't have to ask you.
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, when you, especially, one of the things that I feel like we could be contributing, especially with this particular myth, is when individuals don't reach out because, especially in religious settings, we don't reach out to people in leadership, like pastor, elders. We don't reach out to those people because they're like, hey, they're too far away from me. Like they're not within reach of me because of where they are in that setting.
Yeah, yeah, true. And
Step
what
into a CEO's door to say, hey, how are you doing? People are afraid of going there because of that power aspect, because hey, they are the CEO, they're doing okay. But it's important for us to do those check-ins because then it leads to us, maybe dispelling those myths and eventually removing that stigma that there is with suicide.
Yes, yes, Beatrice. And maybe as we wind up, maybe one more myth that we want to say is if someone has tried suicide before, they are not likely to try it again. Now, being suicidal exposes you to a likelihood that you might consider it again. So you might need a lot of support after that. So wherever someone has probably tried suicide before, they need a lot of support. It is
Mhm.
not like right now I'm hearing. I don't know how true that is. If you've already gotten COVID, you don't have to wear a mask. You've already got. I'm not an expert in that area, but mask up. I mean, social distance, whether you've gotten it or not, until
There's a vaccine. Try
yeah. So suicide is the same way. If you have gotten someone who has had exposure, who has been reached rock bottom, they have tried to take their life, they're likely to try it again.
Mhm.
It's not like now you're not gonna try it again. But the
Yeah.
most important thing is reach out to someone as you wind up, reach out to someone. This month, take time every day to reach out to someone, to our listeners, 1 minute every day. Just reach out to someone new, a
Yeah.
stranger or even someone that you know, a relative, someone you know. Just reach out to them, ask them, are you okay? You never know. That phone call
Mhm.
might be the difference between someone's life and someone's hope.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
is true. That is true. Reach out, and not in, if possible, not in text. Don't forward inspirational messages thinking that you've reached out. It's important to get that phone call and make that call because it as Dedan said, could be the difference between giving that individual hope or deciding whether or not they are in their life. So that is our role in this, being aware, especially now there's a lot of resources with COVID happening. Resources or activities that would be done in person are now online. So mention there's a lot of resources there, and if you ever find yourself that you know somebody and you're like, man, I do not know, how to offer them help. Please, we do have here in the United States the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Please, 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 you call that number or call 911 immediately because we want you to, help offer that support for the individuals if you don't know what to do or if you have somebody that needs the help. So,
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for. I think on our forum on our bids solutions. let's see if you go to that wall. We'll put on the numbers to call in case you come across someone that is within the US. The US, you'll put on the online numbers for the suicide prevention where people can get help. And I'm going to, for the Kenyan numbers, I'm going to look for some numbers where we can put in for those who are in Kenya. For those different countries, I know different countries have suicide response unit in different ways. But
Yeah.
for this month, for those who are listening to us, know that we value you. If you are thinking of taking your life, please don't. We need you. No, the year 2020, COVID has made things so bad, but still there's hope. If you
Mm-hmm.
woke up and see the sun rising, then it means that you are alive. So that
Yeah.
means life is for the living. You are important the way you are.
Mm-hmm.
Please reach out to someone. Reach out to someone. Give them a hope. We hope that this message, as we do it every Sunday, if you miss any other place to look for hope, come right here. We'll give it to you.
Yeah. Definitely.
We'll tell you that you are important.
Mm-hmm.
Someone might have put you down, but don't you worry. There's someone who thinks that you're special, and that is God. That's why He's still giving you life.
Yeah.
And be positive. Be positive always, and reach out to someone. 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 You never
Yeah.
know. You can give someone hope.
Yeah.
As we come to the end, Beatrice, next week we'll be discussing. We'll still continue with the topic of suicide. We may not have a guest, but stay tuned. Stay tuned right here. We may not have a guest, but we are talking suicide this month. Do your children consider suicide? How do you act? What is the connection between depression and suicide? What can we do in case
Mm-hmm.
someone is suicidal? What is the psychological first aid that you can do when someone is under crisis? We are
Mm-hmm.
going to be discussing that right here.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining us. Beatrice, anything you want to say before we
Uh,
call it a day?
just remember, one call, 1 minute every day. Just call, just do that, and we would be doing our share in suicide prevention awareness. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Adios, amigo. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.